Welcome back to Video Game News Daily, the only essential second screen experience for gamers who need the latest from the industry. To get notified of new episodes, sign up to the mailing list at signup.videogamenewsdaily.com and subscribe to this podcast for game news every weekday. It's Thursday, December 4th, 2025. Let's get into the news. Claire Obscure Director says putting it on Game Pass lowered the barrier to entry and helped to reach a wider audience. We'll start with Game Pass doing exactly what Microsoft keeps promising it does. Claire Obscure, Expedition 33's creative director, Delhomme Broche, told VGC that putting the game on Xbox Game Pass lowered the barrier of entry and brought in players who'd normally bounce off a turn-based RPG. He credits Xbox's marketing support and the subscription exposure for helping push the game to 12 Game Awards nominations and a stack of Golden Joystick trophies. Monster Hunter Wilds director tells players who found it too easy, "I would appreciate it if you could come back again." Capcom is in the slightly awkward position of asking its most loyal fans to come back to a game they bounced off. Monster Hunter Wilds director Yuya Tokuda admitted the team intentionally made the campaign more approachable by smoothing difficulty spikes that had blocked newcomers in past entries. The flip side is that veterans burn through it left and right, and post-launch sales have slumped hard compared to Monster Hunter World's long legs. Tokuda says new updates add much harder content and politely asks lapsed players to return. Monster Hunter as a live service relationship where the dev promises they've changed this time. Really? Helldivers 2 PC install size is dropping by more than 80%, just 2 months after Arrowhead said HDD use made it difficult. Over in Super Earth, Helldivers 2 is going on a crash diet. Arrowhead has revealed that a new slim PC build cuts the install from roughly 154GB down to around 23GB after working with Porthouse mixers. The studio previously argued the bloat was down to duplicated assets for players still on mechanical hard drives, but new profiling shows level generation, not disk streaming, is the real bottleneck. A public beta of the Slim client is live now. If it holds up, it'll roll out to everyone, freeing up about 130GB for the rest of your backlog that you also pretend you'll finish. EA Sports FC 26 Team of the Week 12 is out now, including an 89 rated Lautaro Martinez. Ultimate Team enjoyers, it's that time again. VGC reports that EA Sports FC 26's Team of the Week 12 is live, adding 23 boosted players led by an 89 rated Lautaro Martinez and an 88 rated Ada Hegerberg. The squad also gives stat bumps to Phil Foden, Ella Toon, and a scattering of defenders and budget forwards who'll quietly become meta monsters and division rivals. These cards are in packs until December 10, after which they vanish into the transfer market, price fixed by the same three people who somehow never sleep. Hideo Kojima will keynote next year's revamped GDC and share personal insights into building a studio. GDC is bringing back a full conference keynote for the first time in 5 years, and predictably they've gone straight to Hideo Kojima. According to VGC, his March 12th address will focus on how he built Kojima Productions after leaving Konami, covering everything from finding an office to assembling a team and cultivating the studio's very particular brand. So if you've ever wanted career advice from a man who wants to make a game in space and is apparently willing to risk his life to do it, this is probably your best shot. Saudi Arabia's PIF will own 93% of EA after proposed buyout, with the rest of the consortium taking a much smaller share. On the business side, the numbers around EA's proposed $55 billion buyout just got a lot sharper, and a bit more alarming. New filings show Saudi Arabia's public investment fund is set to control about 93% of the company if the deal closes, with Silver Lake and Affinity Partners splitting the leftovers. VGC notes that this is an unusually dominant position for a sovereign wealth fund in this kind of consortium, where private equity typically leads and state money tags along. If it goes through, one of the biggest Western publishers will effectively be state-owned, just not by a Western state. Monotype accused of overcharging Japanese devs for Japanese language fonts. In things you never thought would count as a game dev risk, font licensing is on fire. Game Developer reports that FontWorks' new US-owned parent, Monotype, has begun sunsetting an old license that cost around $380 per year and replacing it with a plan priced at about $20,500 annually. but integrating Japanese fonts into games with strict user caps on top. Studios that rely on these typefaces, think Persona, Monster Hunter, and Fate Grand Order, are suddenly staring down huge recurring costs just to display text correctly. It's the perfect storm of IP law meeting live service economics, and nobody making mid-budget games in Japanese is thrilled. We survive or fail on our own terms, the rise and risk of independent game media. Game Developer also has a long read on what happens when the games press gets hollowed out and everyone's favourite site is suddenly 3 freelancers and a Discord. The feature argues that consolidation and relentless layoffs at big outlets are shrinking coverage and burning out remaining staff at the exact moment the industry is getting bigger and more complex. Worker-owned and independent outfits are trying to fill the gap, but without corporate backing, they're one bad month away from vanishing. I'm very familiar with this over the last couple of years, particularly as Giant Bomb, a big noted game media outlet and entertainment outlet, has changed hands in terms of company ownership maybe 5 or 6 times, and they only recently went independent. The fall of Game Informer is another big one of these, so go and check it out and inform yourself on the state of independent games media at the moment. Fallout Season 1 now free to stream on Samsung TV Plus ahead of Season 2 premiere. Finally, a win for anyone who somehow missed the Fallout TV show. GameSpot reports that Season 1 is now free with ads on Samsung TV Plus from now through December 25, ahead of Season 2's premiere on December 17. There's a full cross-promo running. Samsung's gaming hub pushes Fallout 76's new Burning Springs update via Xbox Cloud Streaming, while the TV side lets you binge the show, assuming you own a Samsung device. That's all for today. Subscribe to the Video Game News Daily podcast, sign up to the mailing list at signup.videogaменewsdaily.com for all the news sources and to get notified when a new episode drops. And send this episode on to a friend if you know they need the news. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.